So one of the things we like to talk to people about is the safety of their home. We're not just there to do the home inspection. We want to make sure that the home is safe, obviously, for you. And we usually ask questions like, is there going to be children living in this home or elderly people? So, you know, basically we get the information we need and then we start to really look at the house differently. So we want to make sure there's handrails where they're supposed to be. Are the steps uniform? Are there uneven steps? Are there trip hazards? That kind of thing. The smoke and CO2 detectors, are they in place? Are they hardwired if they're supposed to be? A lot of people don't realize that. The house is grandfathered in, so if the home had hardwired smoke detectors at one point, you just can't go to battery. So we check those kinds of things as well. And are the smoke and CO2 detectors expired? Again, generally people don't think about that, but they're only good for 10 years. So we're checking to make sure that they're not expired. We talked about trip hazards. We see those all the time. And are there fire hazards? The dryer vent, is it full of lint? Are there gas shutoffs that are accessible? These are just examples of some of the things we look for to make sure that a home is safe. So those are super important.
Yeah, I remember you doing that on one of the home inspections we did together, where somebody had removed the hand railing going down to the basement. And you had said they had probably done that to get furniture in, but that if there were children living in the home, they should probably put that handrail back on. So
yeah, absolutely.
I remember you doing that.
Children or elderly people, things like that. So I had a tenant once sue me over a handrail. She took it off herself to move some furniture in and she forgot to put it back. So she fell and broke her arm, decided to sue me. So I'm really big on handrails.
You're big on handrails. Well, that makes sense.
So,
oh my goodness.
So just going back to that, it's a tenant. So I'm also a landlord. So if anybody's looking at rental properties, I've been a landlord for 20 years in the Hamilton area, so I can give them some direction on that kind of thing as well. So
awesome. So good. All right.
So that's really what I wanted to cover for you today. It was just what we do and what we're not just there doing a quick home inspection. We cover a lot of different things while we're in there.
Absolutely. Well, I know we have some questions coming in, some situational questions. So I'll read this one to you. And if you guys have other things that you'd like to ask, please, this is your opportunity. So type it in, or if you guys want to just, turn on your mics, you have the ability to do that too. So just let me know and I'll turn your mic on so you can chat directly with George. But we do have one in the chat box here saying that builder installed the sub pump in the cold cellar. And so almost every winter, the sub pump discharge pipe is freezing and broken or cracked. Pipe and water, or I guess it broke or cracked the pipe and water was everywhere in the basement. So any recommendations as a home inspector?
Yes, I mean, it wasn't the best thing, the brightest thing. And we do see sump pumps in the cold cellar room. So one of the things that, you could do, I'm not sure if this particular cold cellar has venting. It probably does. It usually has a couple of vents, and you're not supposed to block the vents. So usually with anybody that has a sump pump or like the main water shut off in there, I always recommend that maybe for the coldest 2 months, January and February, you do just block those vents off for a couple of months. Failing that, there's something called a heat trace. This is heat trace is something that people at cottages will do this for pipes that run underneath the crawl space of the home, and it just wraps around your pipes. You could wrap it around the mechanics of the sump pump, and that basically just warms your pipe. You plug it into a typical receptacle, and that will warm the pipe so that the water line doesn't freeze. So that is something you can do. And then the other thing is that if there's pipes running through there, is insulating the pipes as well. But the sump pump, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Not sure why they did that. I mean, worst case scenario is moving that sump pump pit, but definitely trying those things first.
Awesome. All right, we have another question about Kitech plumbing. So I know you touched on that earlier, but just more about what is it? How would you have to go about replacing it? What's involved with all of that?
Well, Kitech plumbing is a type of plumbing that it's basically like plastic PEX, which is what they're using now. But the problem with Kitech, it was the zinc connections on the Kitech were an issue, because they would break down and they would basically corrode from the inside out, and then you'd have the pipes burst. So it was used prominently between 95, 96 and about 2005. And if you do have it, if anybody wants to look up Kitech plumbing and do a Google search, you will see Google images of Kitech plumbing. It's stamped. A lot of times it was orange, but we've seen it in different colors. And Kitech plumbing can be changed out. I know some homes in Oakville have it in that area. There's some homes in Beamsville and Stony Creek. And you basically have to get a plumber to change it out to plastic PEX, because it's similar. And I mean, the good thing with that type of it's flexible plumbing, so it can be pulled out almost like wiring. Whereas old copper pipes and galvanized pipes were a lot more difficult. I've had to switch out a rental home where I had galvanized pipes, and they just abandoned those pipes and ran new plastic PEX beside it. So a lot of times they can probably just abandon it and run new pipes instead of it.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Absolutely. And is it a huge undertaking? I know that buyers, get very put off if that's, even mentioned. Is it a huge undertaking cost-wise to fix that, to rectify it, replace it?
It's really going to come down to a couple of things. There was 2 homes, for example, I saw in Beamsville within a week and a half. And the one home was a more expensive undertaking because it was completely finished. With custom finishings. So they would have to open up walls, and that's where the expenses are going to be, having to open up walls. And the second home had an unfinished basement. So you could see all the lines running up from the basement to the upper rooms. That would have been, probably less than half the price of the first home that we saw. Okay. So every home will be different. It will come down to that. I can't give you a ballpark. Mm-hmm. I've heard anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 to 10 or 12. Again, really depending on the home, the square footage of the home, and what's involved.
Okay, great. Yeah, and then another question too. Again, whenever I do a home inspection with you, I always learn a lot. I remember you saying if there is a home with a wood burning fireplace, that requires something else. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is it a separate inspection, or what do they need to do with a wood burning fireplace?
Yeah. It's a wood energy transfer inspection. So there are inspectors that are out there inspecting wood burning fireplaces. To get a wood burning fireplace, you need to do that essentially for your insurance company. Okay. They require the paperwork for it. And I've heard that some don't bother to ask, but I'm in the frame of mind to say that even if they don't ask, if you have a wood burning fireplace, you want to make sure you tell your insurance company you have it, and then let them tell you if you need that inspection or not, because you don't want to be in a position where if anything happens, your house burns down, or there's a fire because of the wood burning fireplace and it wasn't mentioned that your insurance might be at risk. So definitely tell them you have it. If they tell you to have it, then you go ahead and book in a wood burning a wet certified inspection. It's always a good idea, and it's not a lot. They're generally about $200, and the difference is they really look at probably putting most cases a camera down your chimney to make sure the chimney flue is lined, and just to make sure it's in good working order. It may need to be cleaned, so that's over and above a home inspection. We don't offer that service, but like I say, it's generally a couple of $100 to get that extra service done. And they don't have to do it right at close. So if you had a client that was buying a home and it had the wood burning fireplace, they could book that and they could have it inspected after they've already moved in. You just let your insurance company know that you probably won't be using your wood burning fireplace until you get this done.
Okay, got it. All right. And what about properties with pools? Do you inspect those, and how so? Does it depend on the season what you do?
Yes, my other 2 guys are certified pool inspectors as well, and so they go in and they would check. I mean, we all check the pools. We make sure that they're safe, the proper fencing around the pool, you know, the safety as far as GFI receptacles, pools and hot tubs, making sure that they're GFI protected as well. You know, the breakers, we check all of that. And then the liners, the other guys are pool certified, so they'll check the liners to make sure that they're fine and the equipment's all in working order as well. And again, it has to be seasonal. You know, people are asking us, you know, this time of year to do it. We can't do it. We have to have the pool running, the pump running, everything. I mean, we can look at it now to make sure if it's safe, it's got the right fence around the pool, but it definitely has to be in season.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we have a question about that previous question about the sub pump. Where can one buy the electrical pipe heat wrap for the sub pump pipe?
So if you're looking for a heat wrap, I believe that you can. I know that a lot of the home hardware stores and these stores near cottages sell those. But I'm sure if they want a heat wrap, if anybody wants to just Google heat wrap for pipes, I'm sure Amazon would sell it.
Okay.
They sell everything.
They sell everything,
They sell
absolutely.
everything. But I'm pretty sure the heat wraps are available at the big hardware stores. And like I said, they're very it's similar to what they also do for you know, ice damming. They use these on your gutters to prevent ice damming from occurring. They put a heat wrap or a heat trace up there, and it just plugs into a receptacle. So another great feature of the slightly different version of it to keep that from freezing as well.
Okay, awesome. We have another question here, great question about drainage. What should that look like around the exterior of the home?
You definitely want to have a positive or a positive grade so that you have water. I always tell people, you know, stand at every angle of your home and look at it, because I mean, the biggest issue with water, with moisture getting into a home, is the fact that water will run towards your foundation walls and not away from it, and then downspouts being extended. So I can talk about both. I mean, really, the downspouts, a lot of the ones that go into the ground, especially if your home is older, the weeping tiles, which are the ones that go underground, are made of clay and they collapse. So you want to cap those off, and you want to extend the downspouts 6 to 8 feet away from your home, so the water flows away from your home and not around the foundation walls. And then as far as grading goes, you really want to have a grade that drops off. So if you're standing at your home, you can actually see the grading going away from your home, you know, so that water is not flowing anywhere near your home at any time. That's super important. So a lot of times that involves adding additional backfill, and then just resodding or reseeding the home afterwards, because that is definitely one of the biggest issues for moisture intrusion.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. We do have questions about your prices. So I'm just going to flip up to the previous slide where we have types of inspections. So what would it cost for a pre-buyer inspection?
So this always comes down to square footage, and obviously proximity. If it's in our service area, generally homes that are in the 1,000 square foot range, 1,200 square foot range, are generally 350 plus tax. And then anything between 1,500, 1,600 to about 2,000 is 398, which is about 450. Then once you get over like 2,000 to 3,000, yeah, you're looking more at 495, that kind of thing. So it really goes up based on the size of the home.
Okay.
And that's how we do it. It's based on square footage, because that's going to dictate obviously how much time is spent at the home, and also the age. If somebody's buying a home that's, you know, a 150-year-old home, then we know we're going to be there a lot longer. It's going to have probably a lot more issues. So generally there's a slight premium to that. So the 350 might be 400 for that size of a home.
Okay. And I know we discussed the 1 hour walkthrough doesn't replace a pre-buyer inspection. It's not as thorough, but if there was a situation where that might be helpful, what is the price range for a 1 hour walkthrough?
The 1 hour walkthroughs are 250, and that's 250 all in. That's basically just the inspection, and then they get a picture summary. So there's no report on the day of. They just get a picture summary of any defects that we might have found. Again, it won't be nearly as thorough because it doesn't cover, say, every electrical, in the home, but it will definitely be a great peace of mind for the 250.
Okay, and we have a question here about, is that plus HST or all in?
250 is all in.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. All right. Well, let me know if you guys have any other questions here. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Maybe what I'll do is I'll jump back up to the very first slide, since that's where we have your contact information. I just want to let everybody know that we're speaking with George. He's with Home Sweet Home Inspection. So his website is homesweethomeinspections.ca. Again, we have worked together. It's always a pleasure to work with George. Yes, they do provide an opinion as to the condition of the home, but as I said, before, he does also, give instructions on how to live in that home, how to turn on the thermostat, which I think, clients are always appreciative to get. So it's very thorough and very helpful. And yeah, if you guys need a home inspector, definitely reach out to George. And I have put in the email address in the chat, and you were offering, we've had a few people join. So if you just want to let them know what that PDF is, I will once again put in your email address and just let us know what that PDF is all about. One more time.
Sorry, which PDF was that?
The PDF that you mentioned at the beginning that you could email to anyone who was interested.
Oh, that one. So that PDF is it's the Home Safe Manual. It's a great manual. I'm a certified master inspector, so that's put together by the National Association of Certified Home Inspectors, available to any certified master inspector to give out. So it is customized with our name on it. It's a PDF. It's over 200 pages. I generally give it out to anybody that asks for it. Absolutely, your clients, anybody listening, can get one of those for free. They just have to send me an email and just ask for the Home Safe Manual, and I will send it off to them.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I have just put that in the chat. So Home Safe Manual PDF along with your email address. And let me know if you guys have any other questions. We still have time here. But if you don't, I don't want to keep George on the line for too much longer. Let me just see. Again, let me know if you guys have questions. Anything else, George, you want to add?
No, one of the things that we also cover is the use of the heat recovery system. A lot of the new homes now have heat recovery systems, not just thermostats. So I would go over that as well at home inspections, because a lot of people, maybe even some of your listeners, have heat recovery systems and they don't realize that they have to clean the filters in there. There's two types of filters. One is cleaned every 3 months at the same time as their furnace filter. And there's also a HEPA filter that has to be cleaned once a year. So those are the kind of things that builders don't tell you. They just sell you the brand new home and they don't tell you that has to be done. So that is just a reminder that going into the winter, that something like that needs to be taken care of as well for your listeners.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We just have another question here, just clarifying those rates. Does it matter how many square feet are covered under 250? Sometimes it's more than 3,000 square feet. Prices vary in this scenario. So just confirming, I guess, your rates here.
Sorry, under the 250? No, because it's going to be an hour inspection. Even so, if it's a bigger home and it's, say, 3,000 square feet, again, we're just going to check the essentials of that home. The 4 points, like the foundation, the roof, the attic, and then we'll have a quick look at the electrical and the plumbing.
Awesome. And with commercial properties, how often does the HVAC need to be maintained?
A commercial property?
Yes.
Commercial properties are also different. So commercial properties, generally, you're going to have an HVAC company come in and put that on a maintenance. Depends on if it's rooftop units that would have to be changed. There's filters in there. You'd probably get a contract set up with a commercial HVAC company.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Let me know if you guys have other questions. Do you provide services up north in Barrie?
Yes, actually, one of my guys is out of the Hamilton area, and he has told me that it's an hour and a half to Barrie. He has a slight premium for that extra travel time. So, you know, it's typically for a house that would be, you'd basically add $50 onto the price of whatever the price we you know would quote for that type of home or the size of that home.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, oh, we've got, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Well, yes, definitely. Thank you, George, for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time. And you guys have his contact information. If you do need a home inspector, again, it's great to have somebody that you work with on a regular basis, because even if you're doing showings, you don't know, you know, what that thing is coming out of the floor, take a picture of it, send it to your home inspector. George has been great at answering all kinds of my questions. And then, yeah, having somebody who can help you, again, when you're in that multiple offer situation, if there isn't a pre-listing inspection done by the seller, if you're on the buying side, then, you know, reaching out to George, he's got a number of people on his team that, you know, can maybe schedule something for you in the next couple of days, so that if you are presenting an offer, you can say, we're you know, making it conditional on an inspection, but we've already got it tentatively booked, you know, just to show that you, you know, you are ready to go. And if you're on the selling side, then definitely incorporating that pre-listing inspection so that you you can receive firm offers at the end of the day. Now, let me see if I have any other questions coming in, but homesweethomeinspections.ca. George, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me today.
Hey, you're very welcome. It was a pleasure. Always pleasure working with you and somebody that looks after their clients. So
Awesome.
very,
Well,
very
thank you.
nice. And hopefully we work together soon. And we will talk soon. Stay safe out there.
Absolutely. Be safe. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks again, George.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.